I will be playing a game with my rate and climb account. We are about 1700 rating. And I will be explaining to you the CCTO strategy, which is my favorite strategy, and it has helped me to go all the way here from 1000 to already 1700 rating. And of course, I will also be playing the Pegasus system. In case you don't know, this is my own opening system that we can play with white. So CCTO strategy, I will be explaining that once we get into the middle game. Right now, it's not really necessary to do that. It's only once you castle that we will use that strategy. I quickly have to think for a moment. You never want to allow them to play this pawn to a c5, e5 push. That's not what we want. So I had to be a little bit careful and make sure we unpin the knight. So we always have two pieces looking at this. I will also throw in this a3 to make sure they cannot pin. And I think then we can castle b4 maybe or b3 and basically just be fine, and we will have a good middle game. If you are a regular viewer, I already have to tell you from this point forwards, I will have to talk way less during this rating climb. Because I have already learned my lesson. I still play against these 1700s as if it's a 1100. I talk the entire video. I get behind 5 minutes on the clock. But I already learned my lesson from a couple of games that I didn't post on YouTube, that this is not the way I will be able to continue the rating climb. So it will be more thinking in silence, but I hope it's okay with all of you. So CCTO, checks, captures, threats. That's what we want to think about. Checks, captures, threats. And if we don't have any, optimize. So I'm now looking for an optimizing move. Optimizing usually means the pieces that we haven't used yet, we try to move those. So bishop to b2. Maybe h3. And see if we can trade. So the goal is to always calculate every check, capture, and threat, but usually this only starts halfway through the middle game. So I only start calculating once we are at move, well, 10 and you have castled, sometimes even up to move 15. Okay. I will play h3. I think this bishop is a little bit annoying. I want to see where it will go. Okay. I think we have knight e5. That seems like it's just a move that works. We also have some pressure. So this is what I would say as a threat. So I didn't find any checks. I didn't really find any captures except just randomly capturing pawns. But I don't like equal exchanges. This is a threat. We were threatening to win a piece. And this is also great. This knight is very well placed. And if they take, they also got rid of their own knight in the center, which is usually a problem in the long run. And here you can play knight f3, but you can also play pawn to f4, which is a little bit like the Stonewall attack. Getting this knight in the center. Okay. So what I am thinking about here is that we don't have checks. We have captures that don't do anything. So I'm mostly looking to see if we can start some type of attack here on the king, which I think we can. It's crazy to move pawns like this, but all of their pieces are stuck. And this knight will soon have to move as well. So I think we have some time to try to put some pressure and see if we can break open this position. Yeah, that doesn't really do anything. We have a bunch of captures, but I don't think they really help. I think it's time to poke and see where the knight is going to go. Okay. The knight moved, which I think makes capturing here a little bit more interesting in some lines because we get an open c file, but we also give them counterplay against e3, which is not immediately what I want. This is, I think, optimization, but we are also threatening on some line to win a pawn in the center. So that's what I'm looking at. Okay, they take. I will try to keep the pawns together. And we are still fighting to see if we can win this pawn. Also, all of my pawns are taking away so many squares from them. I wish we still had a light squared bishop. That would make things more interesting. Okay, so we can take, win a pawn. They move the knight somewhere. They barely have any good squares. Well, I think actually they would be able to just take this. We take, and if they take the knight, we don't have a checkmate because that knight is and time to stop the checkmate. So I think it's further optimization which we need. Yeah. Okay. Taking this as a plan. Let's see what they play. Okay. I need to find a way to get this knight into the game. I don't immediately see anything. Maybe we had rook c1. But the most important thing, as I always say, is that we try just not to make any mistakes. That's the basic plan. Try not to make mistakes. Okay. Well, I think as white, what we did a great job here of grabbing space, improving the position, making sure we have a bunch of nice squares. But we also have to be a little bit careful that he doesn't create a passed pawn. That's what I'm a little bit worried about, but we are still fine. I'm going to take away that square. Okay. This now looks like a very good square to get a knight in. So I'm going to see if we can go there. But my opponent is playing a very good game. As I said, these 1700s, they don't just collapse and surrender. They give you a real fight. I think we might have something. Because my idea was that we can push and this is looking dangerous for my opponent. Okay. And then I think we have a checkmate pattern. The question is, do we push first or do we move the queen in? I hope you can see that. We have a checkmate possibly on g7. Okay. The problem is always if he never captures that pawn, it's basically a black pawn. It's basically a black pawn. Even though it looks white, it's a black pawn. It's helping him. I'm just trying to put a little bit more pressure. I think something will collapse here very soon. This shouldn't be holdable for black. But we don't have that much time, so. But we do have double pressure, potential checkmate. This can also open up in the future, yeah. Let's just see. No time to calculate. But I think there are some tricks here. I think this move solves the problems for him though. If he finds that, but he doesn't. Yeah. I think this wins the game. I'm looking for checks capture threats, yeah. We take the rook, and that's a checkmate. And we just have an extra rook. We also have some pressure, but we have no time. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I have to say my opponent played a very, very tough game. He didn't really make that many mistakes. We really had to push for this win.